So today we had a 3-game slate of NBA playoff basketball, so we're going to be covering those games. One of them was not a close game at all, and we're not going to cover that game much, but the other two were pretty fun watches, so we're going to go over those games real fast. So the Lakers faced off with the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 2 of their series in Memphis, and the Lakers fell short of the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies tie up the series 1-1 going to LA. And with no Ja Morant, this Memphis Grizzlies team came out the gate dominating the game. They were up for majority of the game until it got really close towards that fourth quarter. But for majority of the game, the Memphis Grizzlies were in control, with Jaren Jackson Jr. even getting hurt early on in the first quarter, I believe, twisting his ankle, him having to go to the locker room and get taped up, so he was a little banged up this game for majority of it. And this team was still holding control of the Lakers, who with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they were holding control against that team, and they didn't even have Ja Morant. Speaking of Jaren Jackson Jr. though, he actually received his Defensive Player of the Year award right before this game. Pretty cool to see him do that. I believe it was very well deserved. And if you want to see my short I made about it, click the first link in the description below. Only 60 seconds, just a quick little short about him winning the Defensive Player of the Year. But to start off this game for the Lakers, Anthony Davis was awful. Out of the gates, he was missing layups, he was getting locked up by Jaren Jackson Jr., the Defensive Player of the Year, showing why he won that award, locking up one of the best talents in the league. But Anthony Davis also, it was good defense, but Anthony Davis also just shooting his hook shots just a little short or a little too much power on it. He just did not have his touch at the rim like we normally see him have. And with AD needing to be the best player on this Lakers team, or the second best player depending on some nights, he only put up 13 points, 8 rebounds, and shot 28% from the field. So not only did he shoot bad to start off the game, he just did not have a good game at all. And this stuff is just completely unacceptable, especially because it's the playoffs. And while in the second half it wasn't as bad efficiency wise, he also just stopped being aggressive, and that really does hold back the Lakers offense when their best player or second best player, whichever one you think, is not shooting the ball much. Defensively, he was great. He had 5 blocks and was, defending the rim like we always see him do. But offensively, he just did not have his touch, like I said. LeBron had a pretty good game, as usual. I mean, it's LeBron James in the playoffs. What do we expect at this point of his career? He had a pretty nice game, scoring, passing the ball, getting guys around him, trying to get guys around him, in a rhythm, but no one was really hitting shots this game, especially from 3. The Lakers this game, from the 3-point line, shot 27%. That is awful. You are not going to win playoff games shooting like that. And to be completely honest, that was probably their main reason why they did not win this game. There's a lot of, smaller things obviously, but they did not shoot the ball efficiently, and they just didn't make shots. They had pretty decent looks, and they just did not hit shots. And as simple as that sounds, that's pretty much why they lost this game. Another big reason why they lost is they only had about 4 people in double digits, and the main guys that were scoring 20 plus was LeBron and Rui Hachimura. Those were the main guys. Everyone else was low teens in their points and everything, while the Grizzlies had 6 people in double-digit scorings and should have had 7 if David Roddy had 1 more point. And when you look at the Lakers play, they didn't turn over the ball an extreme amount. They got a lot of rebounds and everything. It was just their efficiency, and they did not hit enough shots to keep up with the Memphis Grizzlies. The guard play also was just really bad for the Lakers, with D'Angelo Russell having yet another bad postseason game, shooting 18% from the field and only having 5 points in 30 minutes of play. And in those 30 minutes, he also had 5 fouls. That man was hacking out there. D'Angelo Russell, just a net negative for the Lakers this game, and was last game as well. He needs to pick it up fast. Schroeder didn't even have that much of a good game, but he didn't really play that much. I don't know what was going on, if he was dealing with an injury. He wasn't in foul trouble or anything, but he was 0-3 from the field, no points. I don't know what was really going on with him. Reeves was the only real reliable guard out there for the Lakers, and this is pretty worrisome because they need someone other than LeBron James and Rui Hachimura to actually score the ball. Anthony Davis played a soft game. He needs to play more dominant, have that touch at the rim. They need players like Troy Brown Jr., Malik Beasley. They need someone to have that great night. Maybe not every night. They don't need Malik Beasley averaging 30, but they need Malik Beasley have a nice 15 piece there. Rui Hachimura having a 20 piece there. They need someone to have that real nice game where they just have it going. And as of late, they have not had that. In game 1 they did, but just in game 2 they did not have that at all. It was just Rui and LeBron, and that's it. Now, to be fair, if Anthony Davis does play good, they probably do win this game, but he did not, and that really did cost him this game. But for the winning team, the Memphis Grizzlies, this was a must-win game for them, and they already lost game 1 at home. This was a must-win scenario scenario, and they definitely acted like it, winning the game, tying up the series, going to LA. It would have been an awful scenario for them if they were to go down 0-2, losing both games at home, and then they got to go on the road to LA. That's a recipe for disaster for them. But they were able to keep up with the Lakers, tie the series up with no John Morant and a banged up Jaren Jackson Jr. And this was all led by the unexpected hero, Xavier Tillman, having himself a career night, putting up 22 points, which was a team high, 13 rebounds, also a team high, and shot 77% from the field. That man was balling. When Memphis needed someone to step up on the national stage, Xavier Tillman answers the call, and that is just huge for the Grizzlies. Absolutely huge. Jaren Jackson, like I said, was a little banged up, but he definitely had a pretty good game with 18, 9, and 3 blocks. Pretty nice game. But what separated Memphis with LA, like I said earlier, is their scoring, which is so spread out. They weren't like focused on one player to score the ball or two players to score the ball. Like, there was a ton of players scoring. Luke Kennard, David Roddy, Xavier Tillman, like everyone was just having pretty nice games. No one had like a standout performance, unless you want to say Xavier Tillman, but no one had like a 30 piece and 10 or something. Like, everyone just had good, solid games, efficient games, while the Lakers were kind of only relying on LeBron and Rui Hachimura, and that's not really a recipe for success, especially with Anthony Davis having a pretty bad game. Memphis also, I thought, had really good defense. Like Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm talking about Anthony Davis had a pretty rough game. A lot of it was because of Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, Anthony Davis had a pretty rough game, and that was really the main thing that costed them. And Jaren Jackson Jr., you can credit that fully to him. Dillon Brooks was even getting in LeBron's face, you know, screaming at him, even in the post-game interview saying, like, I don't care about all that, like, he's old.
Maybe you shouldn't do that with one of the better players in the game. What were you thinking?
I don't care, he's old.
I only respect him if he puts 40 on me. Like, Dillon Brooks is a professional at getting people to hate him. I somewhat kind of like it at this point. I was kind of annoyed, but at this point, like, that was kind of just funny to me. Like, Dillon Brooks just knows how to get on people's nerves. But on to the next game, where the Lakers do have to prove themselves. Was game 1 a fluke? I know a lot of people are asking that question right now, and game 2 kind of did, you know, not prove them wrong. But John Morant, hopefully for the Grizzlies coming back for game 3, this is going to be big trouble for the Lakers. And on the broadcast, they showed a little graphic, which was actually pretty interesting. The Lakers have the current longest streak for teams who win game 1 that go on to win the series. Anytime they won game 1, they've won the last 30 series in a row. I believe it goes back to the 90s or something. But on to the next games today, which was the Heat and Bucks. I'm gonna be honest, this game got very little watch time for me. The Bucks were up like 30-40 almost at one point. Like, we have to be serious here. I'm not gonna waste my time watching this game, especially when other games are on at the exact same time. I know Jimmy Butler didn't have that bad of a game, but it was really just everyone else did not come to play. And the Bucks, oh my gosh, the Bucks went off. At one point in the third quarter, about halfway through, the Bucks already had like 100-something points, and the Heat only had like 70. Like, the Bucks were demolishing Miami. Led by Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez having masterclass nights. Brook Lopez really setting the tone throughout the whole game. And the last game of the night, which honestly I didn't watch much of until like that second half, which was the Nuggets facing off the Timberwolves in game 2 in Denver. The Nuggets did end up winning, going up 2-0, going to Minnesota, but I will give credit to the Timberwolves team. This team did fight. They were down a pretty decent margin in the first half. The third quarter came around. Anthony Edwards, watch out, that man, Ant-Man, carrying the Timberwolves to just make it a decent game. Rudy Gobert had a pretty nice bounce back game, but oh my gosh, Karl Anthony Towns might be my most disappointing player in this entire playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns has played awful, and that might be an understatement. He's playing soft defensively, soft when he goes and gets rebounds. He's shooting the ball horribly. He shot like 30% this game, or 20%. He shot around the same in game 1. Like, this is awful play by Karl Anthony Towns, who should be their second best player easily, and he has not been that, and not even close to it. But anyways, the main guy, the number 1 option for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Ant-Man, dropping 40, trying to keep the Timberwolves in contention to win this game to not go down 2-0. But unfortunately for Anthony Edwards, his team did not follow in his foot tracks and did not play as good as he did. He dropped 40, combating Jamal Murray's 40 like it was an epic duel between those two guys. But Jamal Murray did get the best of them. Jamal Murray just had a bit more weapons around him to close this game out instead of with Anthony Edwards. It was literally just him. The Nuggets just had a little bit too much firepower for the Timberwolves to handle, and honestly, this game was a really close game, but it took Anthony Edwards to go off for it to even be a little bit close. So the Nuggets go into Minnesota. Minnesota might take one game, but it really does matter if Karl Anthony Towns plays good or not, and right now he has not shown me he can do that. So I honestly think the Nuggets team will probably sweep them, or if not, probably a gentleman's sweep at best for the Timberwolves. So anyways, if you guys liked the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload. And if you agree, disagree, or you're on the fence with what I'm saying, put it down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it, be respectful, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.